What's good with y'all, man? It's your boy Tick, aka Game Fanatic, the Michael Jordan of the game, and also the rebel of the YouTube Underground, and I'm back with yet another video, and this is going to be about the PlayStation 4 Pro reveal that we saw yesterday. Now, first things first, I want to start this off, and I'm going to repeat it because a lot of times people don't understand or don't hear stuff. So one, I'm not going to have music playing in the background like I normally do because I want you to hear exactly what I'm saying. I want you to hear this loud and clear. Now I want you to be vibing to any background music in the back. I want you to be looking at the gameplay in the video because it's not going to be in the gameplay. I want you to hear what I have to say. So first things first, I am not an Xbox fan. I can care less about Xbox. Xbox can suck a fat one. I don't care about Microsoft, and the reason is because they gave me horrible customer service a few years back with my Xbox 360, and since then I said I will never support their systems or gaming consoles ever again, and I'm not going to do it. I'm a man of my word. When I say I'm not going to do nothing, I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to buy no Xbox Scorpio. I'm not buying an Xbox One S either. They can both kick rocks. For them as a gaming company, I could care less about them, and I don't care if they got any new people that run the joint better. They still did me dirty. They didn't help me with something that one of the guys screwed up with. So forget them as a company when it comes to gaming. I'm not supporting them. Now, I also am not a PlayStation fanboy, so I will point out, any BS I see about Sony. I'm trying to keep this censored because of the whole, the YouTube censoring thing. But I will come at Sony and call them out on any BS that they put out or say. All right. Mainly, I game on a PC. So if anything, I would be actually considered more of a PC fanboy than both of these consoles. I bought my PS4 just for their exclusives, to be honest with you. Xbox, all their exclusives are on the PC anyway. And even if they weren't, I still wasn't going to buy it. So it doesn't even matter. But anyway, let's get to what we want to talk about today. So the Sony conference, they had some little meeting or conference yesterday. I didn't get to watch it live. I was at work. I worked from 1 to 11, so I really didn't get to watch it while it was going on. But I heard about it, and I decided to hop on Twitter. I think it was around like 5 or 6 o'clock after my lunch break, and I hopped on Twitter to see what everybody was talking about on my phone, and I saw people were saying PlayStation 4 Pro. And stuff like that. I saw JG tweeted something like that saying something, it's called the PlayStation 4 Pro, and put some little smiley faces up there. He light skinned, so that's why he do that. But anyway, he put that up there, and I was like, so it's not called the Neo. I kind of knew it anyway because Neo was just a code name. It's always like that. Like, you remember the PlayStation VR was once called the Morpheus. I felt like they should have kept calling it Morpheus. The Morpheus just rang better than VR, PlayStation VR. Like, PlayStation Morpheus just sounds so much sexier. The code name should have just been PlayStation VR, but they just called it PlayStation VR now, and then they had the code name Neo because obviously Sony likes the Matrix, and then when it came out they called it PlayStation 4 Pro. So what is the PlayStation 5 going to be called code name? It's going to be called the Agent Smith. I feel like it's going to be called the Agent Smith or the PlayStation Smith. I don't know, but anyway, or Agent. But I don't know, man. They call it the Pro, and I was like, okay, cool. Let me try to find out some specs and stuff on this thing. Because for the longest, I recently bought, maybe about 5 or 6 months ago, I recently bought a 4K Super Ultra HD LG 3D TV. It was a lot of money, but I've been saving up for a TV for a while now. And I just bought this bad boy, and I love this TV. But I bought it, and I wanted a 4K Blu-ray player with it. I was like, 4K, Samsung's coming out with a 4K Blu-ray player this year. I'm definitely going to cop one because I want to watch some 4K Blu-rays. And I bought Deadpool and everything. So I was holding off for that, but we'll get back to that later. So I was like, let me see what these specs are. So I watched some of the videos of Horizon and stuff like that. I thought the graphics looked pretty good. Now, I was watching on my cell phone, so I really couldn't get the full aspect of it. And then I came home and watched it on my 4K TV to see what it looked like. Now, my 4K TV can kind of lie to you a little bit because it's a 240 hertz TV. So it will make anything that is 24 frames per second look buttery smooth, like a 60 FPS. So I was watching, I was like, dang, this joint, looks like it's pretty much 4K and it's 60 FPS. Like, this is crazy. They actually can do that with a 4.2 teraflop. And then I watched the Andromeda, whatever it is, that Mass Effect game. I don't, really care much about Mass Effect like that. But anyway, I looked at that, and I was like, yeah, this joint looks okay, and it's running at 60 FPS too. That's crazy. But then I was like, wait a minute, hold on. Let me watch it on my phone and on my computer. Now I have a 144 hertz computer monitor, and when I watch it on that, 'cause my computer monitor won't boost a speed or anything. It just does it for if the game can support it, or if YouTube would support it, it would do it. But other than that, it won't just boost everything you watch to 144 like that. So I watched it on my phone, and I noticed that it was looking like it was running 30 FPS, and this was at 1080p 60 because that's the only thing my phone maxed out at on YouTube. And then I got on my computer and I had it at 1080p 60, and it was still moving like at a 30 to maybe 20 FPS. I'm like, well, damn, now it's not that high. But it leads me to know that, they are probably running some of those games native 4K. Horizon may be one of the games that is actually native 4K because if you watched Digital Foundry, and that's why I'm on their website, I've been watching them for a while, since before the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox One came out. They heard about the specs of both the consoles, and they put together PCs that would have the same specs as both those consoles, and they ran games to see how they would run those games, and it was so good that people were thinking that it was faulty. It was like, how are you going to compare a PC to a console? Consoles don't have all that background processing, so the games run a lot cleaner. Turns out to not be true, because these consoles are now based off of the x86. I forgot what it's called, but they're based off of what PCs are based off of now. So they're generally going to run just like a PC at this point. So when they did this, they found out that these consoles weren't as strong as they were putting it out to be. And when the consoles came out, they legitimately ran the games just as those PCs they put together ran them. So they did the same thing with the Pro about 2 months ago. They heard about the Neo, and they were like, we're going to put a PC together with all the specs that we gather from it, and we're going to put it together and see how it runs. So they put a GPU AMD 480 in there, which is one of the Polaris cards, which was rumored to be a card that the PlayStation Neo, which is the Pro now, was going to use. And then they put in a processor that ran pretty much the same processing power and everything, the same amount of RAM, all that stuff. They found at 4K that the games would run generally 30 to 20 FPS. At 1080p, they would run like they were perfect. It ran perfect. It was 60 plus every single time. But 1440p, it was 60 plus as pretty much like an average, maybe like 70 to 60 to maybe 50. So it still ran decently at 1440p. So they concluded that maybe, the PlayStation Neo is not really a 4K console, because at that time we were calling it the PlayStation 4K. And that was even before we called it the Neo. We were just calling it the PlayStation 4K Neo or whatever. They were like, maybe they should focus more on 1080p and 1440p. And that's when I made my video about that. I was like, I think they should focus more on that, so you can have the higher frames per second, but you'll still have the better graphics than what you have on your regular PlayStation. And I said Xbox should do probably 1440p with the Scorpio. I think they should. So I feel like that's what's going to be going on with this PlayStation 4. So you're going to get better graphics, but the problem is the games are still going to run at lower frames. Actually, someone asked a question. I should have pulled that article up, but they asked the guy from Sony, will they get increased FPS because of the higher, the stronger power of the console? And they pretty much confirmed that no, that's not going to be true. You're still going to be probably getting 30 frames per second on most games because they're pushing for better looking graphics, which is crazy. Now, we passed all the powerful, the system being powerful stuff. Now, here's what I really wanted to hit on. So remember I told you I waited to not buy the Samsung the Samsung Ultra Blu-ray player, because I was expecting the PlayStation 4 Neo or Pro now to have a 4K Ultra Blu-ray player in it. It don't. But it's funny that their competition in their Slim Xbox actually has a 4K Blu-ray player in it. Why, Sony? How could you drop the ball like that? How could you drop the ball? And all over YouTube, either in the comment sections or other YouTubers I watched, like YouTubers were damage controlling. And they know for a fact if this was Microsoft, oh, for the love of God, if the Xbox Scorpio would have come out and that's not even, let's say the Xbox Slim didn't even have a 4K Blu-ray player. Let's just say that the Scorpio was the one that came out a year later and it didn't have a 4K Blu-ray player in it. Oh my Lord. And if Sony had one of their Pro and the Xbox Scorpio didn't, these same people who were saying that they didn't care about that Ultra Blu-ray player, they would have been probably getting on Microsoft so hard for not having that 4K Blu-ray player in there. But they do have it in there, and they have it in their base smaller system, which is sad. And HDR support, because Sony was boasting about that 4K and HDR play and everything like that. I mean, it's cool they're going to give the regular PlayStation guys HDR as well, but I don't really care for HDR gaming. I want it for a 4K Blu-ray player, which the Pro should have had, because Sony, you own Blu-ray. It is yours. You let your competition beat you with something that you own. How can that even happen? Oh my gosh. Like, that's crazy to me. And I'm pretty sure they're going to drop a rendition with a PlayStation, with a Blu-ray player later on down the line. So I wouldn't even opt to even buy your PlayStation Pro instantly. I want to wait, because you're not going to triple dip me into your consoles, dog. In fact, I probably wouldn't even care, because I'm just going to go buy an Ultra Blu-ray player. I'm probably going to buy one as soon as I'm done with this daggone commentary. I'm going to go up to HH Greg and price match that sucker to my job. And there's a reason why I'm not going to buy from my job and buy from HH Greg. So yeah, I'm probably going to do that because that's just sad. Now, like I said, I watched videos of these other YouTubers, and they were damaged to trying to say, well, who needs a Blu-ray player? One guy by the name of Broken Games even disrespected me, and he didn't probably, want to disrespect me heads on, but he was being disrespectful to everybody. He was throwing his opinion, and he was just saying, like, you know what? I think you're stupid if you buy Blu-rays. I think that is the most dumbest thing you can do. And I am a Blu-ray person. I buy Blu-rays. You can see this picture right here. I buy tons and tons of Blu-rays. I just bought a Blu-ray player maybe late last year, and I'll have already probably over 50 Blu-rays. At one point, I was going to, Walmart every week to buy a Blu-ray. Now, most of the time, I would go buy older films that I watched back in the 90s just to see how they look with high definition, because that was, like, always a great thing for me. It's like, yo, this movie looks so much different than how I remember. It's crazy. Like, that's what I would normally go do. But then, after I bought this 4K Blu-ray player, 4K TV with 3D, now I'm focusing more on buying not Ultra, but 3D Blu-ray movies. As you can see, there's a lot of 3D Blu-rays on that little cart there, because I enjoy 3D. Like, I literally go to the movies to see movies in 3D if I hear about it being good in 3D. So in hindsight, or in my opinion, I don't even know if I even use that word correctly, but in my opinion, I think that you're stupid if you stream movies. And I know a lot of people do it. I'm sorry, but it's just dumb. If you think logically about it, you're spending way more money than I do just buying a Blu-ray. Because if I buy a Blu-ray, it's one and done. A Blu-ray could be $20. A lot of times you can price match a lot of stores from Amazon. It may be like $17 or something like that. And I just buy it that one time, and I get like a DVD copy, I get a Blu-ray copy, and a digital copy. And I could go back and watch that movie as many times as I feel like, and I don't have to pay any service to do it. You get on Netflix, you're paying $10 for just regular HD, and I think $12 for if you want the premium service that gives you some of those channels, like some of those shows in 4K. But you're paying that a month, and that already in 2 months adds up probably more than my Ultra Blu-rays, especially in 3 months. So you're actually spending a lot more money watching lower quality movies, because I had Netflix for a while, and I decided to watch a movie that I had on Blu-ray on Netflix, and I felt that I didn't even have the HD service. I was like, am I paying for HD service? Like, what's going on? And by the way, I have 100 down with speed, so I don't have a slow internet. Before you go, oh well, your speed must be low because you weren't getting the highest quality. I have 100 down, and I have everything wired. I don't use Wi-Fi. So I was wondering, did I pay for the HD service? And I literally hopped on my phone to make sure I had the HD service. And I was like, oh, this is an HD. But it didn't look like it. I couldn't see any detail. It looked pretty much like my Xfinity Comcast HD, which is not that sharp. It's 720p for the most part. And then some things are 1080p, but it's not the sharpest 1080p. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, yo, like, I don't see as much detail as I see on my Blu-rays on this. So I'm not going to continue paying for Netflix. First of all, it takes them forever to get newer movies, and it's just like pretty much the same boring movies on here for the most part. And the main thing I would normally watch on Netflix was just like the B-rated horror films, like the ghost films and stuff like that, because they were actually pretty good. But other than that, like, it wasn't worth it. So I just went back to buying Blu-rays. So in my opinion, Broken Games, you're a dumbass if you stream, because you're getting less quality and spending more money. All right, so we're gonna kill that. I probably won't be able to make your show, because I'm pretty sure you want me to come on the show so you can put me on a stand or whatever. But I'll work on Saturday, and I'll be probably getting off way before the show is. Getting off after the show has already been done. So yeah, I won't be able to make the show. But anyway, I feel like it's dumb to stream movies. Like, it's better to buy them. You get better quality. I like better quality, so that's why I go with buying the Blu-rays. Now, like I said, the Xbox One S actually has a 4K Blu-ray player. It has the HDR support, but it has some stuff over the PlayStation as well, like backwards compatibility. It has that going for it. I forgot the Blu-ray player. So people are saying that the Pro is still going to do better than the Xbox One S. I kind of doubt it. Mainly because, okay, the hardcore gamers that are Sony fans are definitely going to buy the Pro. Definitely. That's going to happen. But people who are casual gamers, they're going to look at the Xbox One S as better. One, it has a 4K Blu-ray player. It has that. And then if they had a 360, especially parents who come up to get their kids a console, and a lot of times they don't know which one is better, and they ask me at my job, and I'm sure they're going to ask other people at retailers. They're going to say, well, which one would you get? Which one's better? What makes one different from the other? And I'm going to be honest. I'm a straight up honest person. I'm going to explain what one has. I'm going to be like, okay, well, the PlayStation 4 Pro, it's a stronger console definitely than the Xbox One S, but it doesn't have any backwards compatibility, because they be like, they surprisingly know about backwards compatibility. They be like, well, can he play his old PlayStation 3 games on it? And I have to go, no, he can't. It doesn't play those. You have to buy a thing called PSN Now or something like that to PS Now to play your old games, and it's a subscription service. Also, it doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player, but it can stream 4K. And it has HDR support and everything like that. So, but the Xbox is not as strong graphically, but it still looks pretty good. But it has a 4K Ultra Blu-ray player in it, and it has HDR as well. And if he does have any if he has a 360, they have backwards compatibility, and they're adding more and more games on it, so you can play those games on your new Xbox One S. And it has a really good upscaler for 4K in it as well. As a consumer or a customer who really isn't a gamer, and especially if you're buying it for your child, which one would you go with? You would obviously, I'm not going to let y'all answer it because a lot of y'all are biased. Obviously, you would go for the Xbox. They typically go for the Xbox because it's going to give them more things that they may want to use along with what their kid would like to use. A lot of times they won't even care about the higher graphics and stuff like that, because they were like, well, he's whatever this age is anyway. He's 7 years old anyway. He's 10 years old anyway. He doesn't even have a 4K TV, so just go ahead and give me the Xbox. It sounds like it's the better buy. And another thing they changed recently was, their PSN. I made a video about that. And at one point, I used to tell them the prices of playing the game online. And when I used to tell them the PlayStation was cheaper with $50, a lot of time that would make them consider the PlayStation. But now that they're the same price, they're probably not. So, also see a lot of people in the comment sections and in videos talking about, well, the PlayStation is stronger. It has better graphics. But I thought that graphics don't matter, though. People were saying graphics didn't matter at one point, but it's funny that now graphics matter. But I bet 12 to 13 months down the line, when the Scorpio comes out, I bet again graphics won't matter anymore. At that point, it'll just be, well, it's all about the games. It's all about the games. That is what's going to be the flip-flop. because people do that. Now, a lot of other people were saying that, they didn't put a Blu-ray player in there because of Sony is more about the gaming. They care to focus mainly about gaming and stuff like that. Well, if that's the point, they would not have put that Blu-ray player, that streaming 4K in there. They would not have said anything about that. They wouldn't be talking about HDR as well. They would just be talking mainly about gaming. But Xbox is definitely going to be for gaming. You can still game on it, but they have that additional feature that makes it better than the PlayStation 4. Especially if you're a guy that owns an HD TV, like what? And you don't have a 4K Blu-ray player because you thought they were expensive, but you're looking for a new console, and one of those consoles has a 4K Blu-ray player. Which one do you think you're going to go for? Ding! The Xbox One S. So I just think Sony dropped the ball on that. I had to rant on that a little bit. I don't know what Sony was thinking. Like I said, I'm not an Xbox fanboy, not a PlayStation fanboy. I don't own an Xbox One S. I only own the 360, but I do own a PS4. You can check out me playing Uncharted on here if you don't think I'm telling the truth. There's even video of me playing The Last of Us from the PS4. So, yeah, I have a PS4. Not a fanboy of the Xbox. But, yeah, man, I just wanted to talk about that. I just wanted to rant on the PS4 Pro. I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like they should have just waited till next year and got some stronger hardware and threw it in there and came out maybe around the summertime to beat Microsoft a little bit. But compared to the One S, it just looks like it's a no-brainer. It just seems like the Xbox would be the way to go, especially for someone who has a 4K TV and looking for a Blu-ray player along with a gaming system. It just seems like the One S is the way to go over the PlayStation Pro. And then when the Scorpio comes out, not only will it still have a 4K Blu-ray player, but it's going to be a lot stronger as well. And then it's definitely going to be a no-brainer. And by next year, because people think it's going to be a lot of money, the hardware that's going into that Scorpio is going to be a lot cheaper by next year. Believe me, it's going to be, the console at that point next year will probably be about $500 to $400. It's going to be a lot cheaper. So it's just going to really destroy PlayStation when it comes to that stuff. And you can say it's all about the games. PlayStation has more games. Xbox has a lot of games too. Now, as a PC gamer, I have a PC, and a lot of those games are coming to PC. But there are people who don't like the PC, who will not move to the PC, who only know console gaming. And those games that are on the Xbox that are on the PC as well, they don't care about getting the PC, so they're going to buy an Xbox for it. There's people I work with, and they still only mainly like to play consoles, and they work at a PC store. So it doesn't matter. So I feel like Sony shot themselves in the foot. They should have waited. Microsoft is just they're gonna capitalize off of this a lot. And it's not, I think it's like the same price or slightly more expensive than the One S. It's not a good look, man. But anyway, this is your boy Tick, aka Game Fanatic, Michael Jordan the game, and I just had to rant on the PlayStation 4 Pro, man. I'm sorry this was a long video, but I had to talk about it, man. But this is your boy Tick, aka Game Fanatic, Michael Jordan the game, and like, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you enjoyed your time here, a lot of you probably didn't, because I know a lot of you guys are PlayStation fanboys, so it's whatever. But it's your boy Tick, and I'm gone. Bye.